How do you return a net spin? It's not easy, but I'm sure you can learn it. We'll show you 3 ways on how to return a net spin. A simple one, a nice one, and of course a badass one. So what are we waiting for? Let's jump right into it. Okay, so returning a net spin the simple way, playing it with a lift to the rear court. If your opponent has played a great net spin with the shuttle spinning a lot in the air, what I want you to do if you want to play the rear court shot is waiting a tiny bit for the shuttle to drop, because the more it drops, the more spin gets out of the net spin, sort of say. So in that way, it's much easier to play the net lift. So it's both on the forehand and the backhand side that I want you to wait a bit for the shuttle to drop before you play your net lift to the rear court. So lifting a net shot isn't easy, and it's important to control the length on your net lift still. What I want you to do is to try to play your net lift as high as possible, because that will minimize the risk of you playing the net lift too long, so going out, or even too short. And although it might be a bit too short, it's much more difficult to attack on a very high net lift than a flat one. So it's important to have this big movement on your net lift, because it also helps you to control the shuttle actually. If you're doing these small movements and the shuttle is spinning slightly in the air, it is very difficult. The shuttle will go left and right. So try and keep that big movement to control it as well. So it's also important to say that today I'm in a hall where we don't have as high to the ceiling as some other halls. So in these situations, you of course need to try and find the balance, keep the swing a bit smaller to kind of control it, because obviously I'll lose the point if I just play my net lift that hits the ceiling. So here in a situation where you're in a hole that doesn't have as high, you need to control it. Still keep your swing rather big, but it's not as big that you just pull it all the way up. So let's talk about the second option that you have to return a net spin, the nice one that I referred to. That is returning a net spin with a net spin. So why is this a good idea? It's often because your opponent, when they are playing a high quality net spin, they sometimes anticipate that a lift will come, so they are actually stepping backwards and not closing the net. That gives you the opportunity to play a net spin back and actually taking the initiative. So it is some sort of a counter attack that we're talking about. Let's talk about how you approach this. On the net lift, we talked about waiting a lot before you play your net lift. On your net spin, if you want to return with a net spin, you can't wait as much. It is very difficult to play net spins from the ground. What I want you to do instead is approximately play the net spin kind of in the middle of the net or on your shoulder height. So that is the area where I want to play the net spin. So return a net spin with a net spin requires a delicate touch on the shuttle. But here's one important thing that I want you to remember. And stay with me, it is a bit difficult. If my opponent plays a backhand net spin from the inside out to my forehand, then it's also important for me in my spin to play it inside out. In that way, we're kind of following the same spin that the shuttle is doing, whereas it is very difficult if my opponent plays this inside out net spin and I'm coming and wanting to play an outside in net spin. It is kind of difficult to break that spin of the shuttle. So that's why it's important to follow the same kind of spin direction that your opponent is doing. So the third option, the badass one that I talked about, is playing kind of a top spin, a slice on a net spin, so it quickly goes cross court on the net. So it almost looks like this when you play it. I think players like Shiuchi and actually Koda and Aroka are pretty good at doing this both on the forehand side and on the backhand side. What's important is, if you're playing it from a forehand position, that you actually hit the shuttle on the feathers on the right side if I'm a right-hander, and then the opposite if I'm playing it on the backhand side, that I'm playing and hitting the shuttle on kind of the left side of the feathers and the shuttle. So I can hit the shuttle clean because then it's very difficult to control, and likely you'll get a too high kind of curve on your cross-court shot. We have actually done a video on this specific shot before, and you can find it up here in the corner where we are deep diving in the technique on how to do it. So if you reached this point of the video, I've showed you 3 ways on how to return a net spin. So I've done the talking, now it's your time to go on court and do it. Thank you for watching this, and remember, the court is a canvas for your journey.